This week in the world of news from books, beards, and brews. All right. As always, I am Bob of Tales by Bob.
I'm the ass of the podcast, Derek.
And I am creative consultant, unpaid intern, best person in the room,
We did not agree upon these things.
Tanya.
Negative.
It's the beginning of...
Like, I'm not even sure I agree with the Tanya part after that first nonsense.
Wow. Well, it's towards the beginning of the month, and my Patreon charge just came out of my bank account, so I
That's
kind of
true.
feel like I'm investor Tanya also, despite
The lack of suspenders.
No
the lack of
suspenders.
suspenders.
I think I'm going to suspend that idea until you get the suspenders.
You know the thing that there's literally a pair of suspenders 2 rooms away.
I know, but it's way down there, and I'm already sitting.
I think I hate you. What do you...
Me too.
Wait, hold on. Think that I hate you or think that you hate you?
Why not both?
Why not both?
Okay, well, I just... All I needed was clarity, okay?
Yeah,
Okay,
no.
good to know.
No, I don't think you hate me.
Like,
What is there to hate, honestly?
Wow.
so,
Wow,
All
Wow.
right.
Y'all's looks were like, are we really getting into this?
Yeah.
we just going to skate right past that.
So, I know Derek had a bit of New Zealand-centric news for our brand ambassador, Ryan.
Yeah, I just...
Or a headline, at
Yeah,
least.
mostly just the headline
Yeah.
because I saw it.
I think,
and was
the,
like,
I think
wait,
the
what?
headline pretty well...
Explains it.
Yeah.
And it was pretty much the best. Apparently, I don't know if this is... See, this is why... What?
Go ahead.
Anyways, so in McDonald's in New Zealand, I think it was. See, now I'm blanking
How do you
on
have
specifics.
McDonald's in New Zealand? New Zealand's not a real place.
So, anyways, at McDonald's in New Zealand, apparently they've started giving away children's books with Happy
What?
Meals.
Yeah,
Instead of
Roald
Yeah.
Dahl books in Happy Meals.
yeah, which I 100% endorse.
Yeah, so
That's
brand
pretty
ambassador
cool.
Ryan
I like that
should
a lot.
pop by McDonald's and buy a Happy Meal.
Read him a fancy book.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's fabulous. Could you imagine how angry people would be here if we did that? You're trying to give them apple slices and books? Oh, it's the worst.
I feel like that. Well,
Literate and healthy, I refuse.
well, see, that's ridiculous. See, I feel like it should go one way or the other. I feel like you don't get both. You get the fries
I'll say
instead
this:
of the
I think
apples.
I think
but
I've
you get the
gotten
book.
a book from a Happy Meal or something.
I think when we were kids, you remember
Yeah.
those little golden books?
Yeah, the golden
little,
books.
But not the full size one, but like a little
you get
pocket
little,
size.
You get little.
A little golden book.
Yeah,
I remember those.
yeah, I remember that.
I'm just saying,
So yeah, bring that back.
bring it back.
All right.
Bring
so,
the McRib back.
Throw in.
It's terrible. I'm just kidding. McRibs, they're gross.
Huh. Says the woman who gets the fish sandwich.
I don't get it with cheese.
Okay,
Oh,
that makes-
okay.
Oh, yeah, that makes
Who
it so
puts
much
fish
better.
and cheese together? That's disgusting.
Who gets fish from McDonald's?
It's nostalgia. It reminds me of my grandparents.
Just rubs like some Vicks on your
What?
chest and call it a day.
Grandma and Gramps would always get like a fish sandwich once a week, and like they would have a fish sandwich, and we would split the fries because we were old and poor. I don't know, nostalgia, dude. It's the
Okay.
same reason I eat like a bunch of old people stuff. Pear salad. It's like a slice.
Okay, hold on.
Okay.
What's a pear salad?
It's a slice, half a slice of pear out of like a can.
Yeah.
And then you put Miracle Whip in it
And
and
what-
shred
ooh.
up some cheese.
Yeah, what?
And put
Oh,
a
so
cherry
cheese
on
on a fish sandwich. That's a bridge too far. But,
But
cheese on a pear? Oh,
With
yeah, let's do
mayonnaise.
that. Oh,
Wait,
yeah.
what?
Yeah, it's
All
real
right.
good. Anyway,
I'm done with you for today.
This is what happens.
in other news, Tanya's real old.
Wow.
Well, we already knew that, but
Jesus.
No, I eat old people food.
because you're old.
Yeah. All right. So diving into the news. First off, Reddit released they do like yearly polls, the fantasy subreddit, and like let people nominate and vote for different categories of books. And they just released their top 10 standalone fantasy novels
Okay.
for 2018. They kind of ran behind. So I'm going to run through the list real quick. I was stoked. I've read 7 of the 10.
Is that the link that you sent in our BBB group chat?
No.
Okay, great.
No, the link I sent y'all was 100 classics.
Yeah, but there was another 10 one. You've linked a bunch of those lately.
Yeah.
Anyway, keep going.
Tied for number. It's a 3-way tie for number 9. Each got 20 votes. What they do is like you
How
basically.
many times you mention?
Well, I think it's like like each person's allowed to like nominate a book or something
Yeah.
like that. I'm not quite sure exactly how it works, but the number 1 only got 34 votes, kind of
Okay.
deal. So it's not like millions of votes, but anyway, so 3-way tie for The Emperor's Soul by Brandon Sanderson,
Oh,
which
I know that name.
have
Brandon
not read.
Sanderson.
American Gods by Neil Gaiman, which I have read.
I have that on my TBR. I own that.
It's okay.
Actually, I think it's free on KU. I think.
It's okay.
I know your issues with that.
Yeah. The Golem and the Genie by Helen Wecker, which I had never even heard of. So I'm going to have to check that out. Number 8 is Tigana by Guy Gavriel Kay.
Hey.
Real good. Real good. Highly recommend everyone read that. I was surprised that number 7 is The Library at Mount Char by Scott Hawkins, which I've read, and is really good. Really weird, but really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone should read that. Number 6 is The Lions of Al Rasan by Guy Gavriel Kay.
I own that
Really
as
good.
well, yeah.
I don't know which I liked more, Lions of Al Rasan or Tigana. Lions of Al Rasan was a little more action-packed, but Tigana was perhaps just a little more flowery.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're both real fucking good. The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien was number 5. Read that.
Yep.
Number 4 was The Goblin Emperor by Catherine Addison, which read that. Real good. So then there was a 3-way tie for number 1. Good Omens by Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman. I read it. Didn't really like it. It was okay. I don't know. A lot going on there. Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clark, which I own, but I haven't read yet.
Oh, I own that as well and have yet to read it.
And then number 1, Uprooted by Naomi Novik.
Hey.
Real fucking good. So,
I think it would be a safe guess to say most of those are just going to be real fucking good reads.
yes, except for American Gods. To me.
But a lot of people like it.
True. I just, it was a letdown.
Yeah.
It was a much cooler idea, poorly executed.
It'd be like
Written-
that sometimes.
Written well, just I didn't personally care for.
You would have told a different story
Yeah.
in the same setting.
Yup. So,
Well,
you'll need to get cracking. Start working on this list.
I know.
I
Get
got
some of these in.
a lot of other stuff to read.
These are real good. And standalone.
I think that's the worst thing about being like a bookie person at this point is just like it doesn't matter how fast you read, man. There's forever a ton of other books to read. And I kind of feel like at some point all I'm doing is just consuming the media. Like consume the book just to like get through a list.
Yeah, I don't do that.
Oh, I know you don't do that.
I ain't about that life.
Yeah. I feel like I'm the medium between the two of you. Or like, Bob, you read books. Like, you could read 7-10 books in a week. Maybe not that much, but you read real quick. Derek,
do.
you don't read quick at all. But anyway, always books.
Well, I think part of it is I also set aside more time to read than both of y'all.
Yeah.
So, like, I do, read faster than y'all, but I also set aside a lot more time every week to read.
True.
So,
You have an employment situation that is conducive to.
yeah, but y'all also have your nights free. So, y'all could read.
But that's for sleep.
How often have you get off at like 2? You have like 6-7 hours before you go to bed.
Yeah, but if I go to bed that early, I kind of feel like I'm gonna get nothing but a bunch of Jesus Christ, you're an old lady snaps from you. Like you're
Well, no,
going
I'm
to bed
just,
at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
I'm
what's
just
wrong with your
saying,
mom?
all this time you spend putting on the internet, you could spend it reading.
Shh, don't talk about the internet. It's terrible. If you talk about it, it shows up.
Yeah. All right. So this headline is called "Fear the Beard." So Julian Edelman,
Who dat?
Football
the
player.
football player, he's the MVP from the Super Bowl.
Okay.
He caught 10 passes for 141 yards to lead the New England Patriots to
Yuck.
their victory
Fuck the Pats.
and got the MVP.
They're the worst.
I don't hate the Pats like everyone does, but I don't really like.
Fuck Bill
the
Belichick.
Pats.
Fuck the Pats.
I appreciate Bill Belichick's snarky, just
Ugh.
surly attitude,
Ugh.
and the fact that Saban comes out of the Belichick coaching tree.
I know.
Yeah,
My distaste for the Pats is also very similar to my distaste for Alabama football.
Yeah, it's mostly she just doesn't like being a winner.
Yeah.
Oh, says the Auburn fan over here. Wow, way to turn on me.
I own it.
Jeez.
It's fine. It is what it is.
God.
So, but they were saying that it's the whiteout's beard that perhaps stood out most during the otherwise exceedingly dull game, whose dullness was only matched by Maroon 5's languid halftime show. I just like that sentence. But so he was
Adam
like, I'm
Levine
not.
was shirtless, so
So they were basically like, he didn't cut his beard like all season. Like that's the thing.
so
He's
he,
like,
he had a victory beard.
yeah.
Okay.
Which I just saw that like yesterday they shaved it on Ellen.
Yeah, because it's a victory beard. You don't keep it all the time. You just grow it during the season and shave it when you lose.
But on Ellen, like that should be a thing that you go to like a mountaintop and do
Whoa,
it yourself.
whoa.
As the
Are you
tears
saying
flow
that
down
going
your
to
face.
Hold
being
on.
on the Ellen Show isn't?
No, I
No,
think
I'm
what
saying-
Pinnacle of greatness?
I'm saying that being on the Ellen show, it's a very public thing. This needs to be a very private,
I think
tearful
that
thing.
you're both being ridiculous and missing the point. No man should shave his beard.
Do you think
Trim
that
it.
during the like
He was
post-game,
sponsored by Big Razor. Is what
was
happened. They
sponsored by
got
Big
to him.
Razor.
They got to him.
Well, so,
all this time he was trying to resist, and then as soon as they won, they're like, "Shave that beard, bitch."
So here's what
With all the
here's
money.
what I wanted to bring up. So Deion Sanders, Neon Deion.
Yeah.
I think Big Razor's gotten to him. Yeah. So he had a beard at one point. I don't know if y'all recall. It was silvery and okay. But he shaves his head, or I don't know, maybe he's just real bald. But so he apparently was begging Edelman to shave the beard, like an interview ahead of the game. He said, and I quote, "I just can't see you with this beard. The beard is doing something to me. I'm sorry. It don't look right, man." So,
I don't think I've ever seen a guy and been like, "That beard don't look right."
I
mean,
have.
unless it's like
Neck beards.
pube beard, and then even then I'm like, "Oh, you're trying so hard."
Yeah.
Keep it up, buddy. Maybe one day.
Yeah. You'll get there one day.
Yeah. So, next little bit of news called Pot Calling the Kettle Black.
Oh.
So, all these, I've been talking here lately about how all these big beer companies are investing in weed companies
Yes.
to make, just to get in on that weed action, but also they want to make weed alcohol.
Oh, that doesn't sound awful.
What are you talking about, Tanya? That does sound awful. That's weird for you to say that.
To me, it doesn't. Because, if you think, like, marijuana is a plant, hops is a plant, you're just brewing with a different plant. So, like, if you're making a alcoholic beer, like, it's just like, it's a beer with a different ingredient.
Yeah, theoretically, were I to have ever been around people that were smoking it so that I would know what it smells like, I just feel like that the taste couldn't possibly be good.
Well, I don't think hop smells good. So,
Yeah.
So, would this marijuana beer have THC in it, or just be like industrial hemp beer?
I guess it would have THC in it.
Oh yeah, that sounds like a recipe for getting real fucked up.
Well, actually, that's the
Boy.
problem. So all these companies are working to develop consumer-friendly cannabis drinks that can compete with alcohol.
Yeah,
But the thing is, pot is nothing like booze.
right.
Alcohol is water-soluble, and cannabis is not.
Yep.
Meaning alcohol is absorbed into the bloodstream quickly, whereas pot edibles and beverages are metabolized much later in the digestive process. So that's what ends up leading to what they call the classic edible effect, which is you consume a weed bonbon, feel nothing, have a second, and then find an hour later that they're far higher than they wanted to be.
Or
So
you forget that you've eaten it, and then 45 minutes later, like, what the fuck? Oh yeah, that's right.
So the problem is onset time, and the related problem is how long the effect takes to wear off. So that's what they're trying to overcome. So they want to develop it. What they're trying to do is get to where you drink 3 or 4 of these in a session with friends, kind of deal. Like you just sit around, drink 3 or 4
like
of these.
having 3 or 4 beers.
Yeah, like having 3 or 4 beers.
Yeah.
They want to have a similar effect. They want you to get a buzz generated from marijuana. So they're experimenting with nano-emulsification, which uses a blending agent that attaches to the cannabis molecules, enabling them to better mix with water.
So they're gonna make weed mayonnaise.
No.
Must you always make everything disgusting?
Why?
well,
That's the
it's
second
a
time you
fat-
brought up mayonnaise.
It's a fat thing and it's emulsified. That's how you make mayo. You just take oil and super blend it.
Just make it worse. That's what mayo is. Is just worse than whatever.
Yeah,
it
mayo's
was.
real not good.
I
Yeah.
put it on my Chick-fil-A French fries.
She does, and it's real gross.
Because the waffle fries, it's like little troughs for
Just do that with
Get
ketchup.
outta here.
Just do it with ketchup.
ketchup is disgusting. Why have ketchup when you can just have a tomato?
You put cheese on pears.
Okay. All right. I will make no food.
You know what?
judgments.
I can't say anything because I don't know if y'all have ever had pineapple salad.
The fuck is a pineapple salad
It's basically just pineapple.
with mayonnaise?
No, just
Oh.
with like cheese melted over the top.
Ew.
It's amazing. I thought it would.
Well, I
be
can actually
disgusting.
see that because pineapple's good on a pizza. So
Yep.
Wow.
yeah. We just hit that rock. Y'all couldn't see that, but
Yuck.
we did.
Bob doesn't even like tomato sauce on his, but
I
he
know.
at least knows that
Oh yeah, I like
pineapple's
a
yeah.
bacon.
I don't like sweet
pineapple
meats.
pizza.
I just don't like sweet meats. Like I don't like honey hams or pineapple on my ham. So pineapple on my pizza is just not okay.
Well, if this episode has proved nothing, it's that you're wrong about
This episode. I thought you meant this podcast.
yeah, virtually everything.
Yeah.
So
Fair. Fair.
that's really all the news I had for this week.
What you been reading, Bob?
What have I been reading? So
What hasn't he been reading?
I am for audiobook. I am listening to The 3 Body Problem by what's his name? He's a Chinese author. It's a translation.
Yeah.
So far, it's really good. I'm really liking it.
I remember talking about that a couple times last year.
So far, it's a sci-fi novel. I know that there's been
That's all you. That's all he knows, ladies and
there's
gentlemen.
been nothing sci-fi at all
Oh.
happened. Like like right now we're talking about like 1967 Cultural Revolution, China. Like that's all we like following this girl whose dad got caught up in the Cultural Revolution and blah 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 blah. But it's really good. Honestly, if they just kept talking along this, they didn't have to really go sci-fi with it. Like this has been good.
Interesting,
It's
yeah.
good, enjoyable, and interesting. Book wise, so all right. So I read this book called The Game Fish. I think is what it was called. I feel really bad. I didn't think to write this down, but it was just a self-pub book about this giant leviathan is going around sinking all these ships. So this guy who was a captain in what is effectively the British Navy in this fantasy world, there's
I'm
currently
gonna take it out.
yeah, basically there's not enough ships in the like the war is over, so the Navy's downsizing, so there's not enough ships for all the captains. So he has a lot of debt. And
Oh.
he hears about like, oh, there's 100,000 gold coin reward to kill this Leviathan. Like, fuck yeah! Like,
God.
let's go get a boat and put a giant fucking cannon on it and go kill this fucker.
Oh Lord, what could possibly go wrong
That's some
with
Moby
this?
Dick shit right there.
I know, right?
all the things go wrong. But no, it was really
Hilariously wrong or oh God wrong?
great.
Like,
Both.
the reason I ask is like, what tone does the?
It's got some lighthearted moments. It's not like a funny book,
Okay.
but it's got some lighthearted kind of moments, and two of the main characters kind of pick at each other a little bit, kind of deal. But it's also like there's a romance element to it. But then there's also like there's a creepy evil cult just chasing people down.
Wait,
yada, yada,
what?
yada. Yeah, it's crazy. Well, this is a magic setting, like a real magic kind of setting. So like anyone who has magic in this, they're called tainted, and apparently having magic drives them crazy eventually.
Huh.
So
Seems legit.
yeah, so there's that. But so I just started reading. So I was going through Kindle Unlimited, just kind of like flipping through, looking for some books to read. And I saw a really cool cover, and the book was called Dungeon Master, and it had good reviews. So I was like, well, I really, and like reading about it, it sounded like, one of my all-time favorite games is Dungeon Master. It's this old game computer game where you played the Dungeon Master. You were the bad guy, and like heroes would attack your dungeon, and you had to fight them
cool.
off.
I thought it was called something else.
Dungeon Keeper.
There you
Dungeon
go.
Keeper. That's what it's called. Well, this is called Dungeon Master. I got into it, and I'm not liking it.
Not so much.
So I found out apparently it's a subgenre of lit RPG called Dungeon Core,
Oh.
Oh no.
and
That sounds like something you really just would not be
so
about.
Does this go back to the whole you don't like stuff that reads like D&D stuff?
No,
Because
I'll
I
tell you
don't
what.
like
Honestly, my
stuff.
biggest problem is this dungeon. The main character is this dungeon. It's like the spirit that controls this dungeon and has controlled like. Basically,
No,
it's a fallen angel of sorts that when it hit Earth, a dungeon erupted around it. It's kind of deal, so it has complete control. It's like a demigod of
Seems
a dungeon.
legit.
Well, these 4 female adventurers come into his dungeon, and
Oh.
he
That sounds like
This
the
is
beginning
concerning.
of... Yeah. I was
Yeah.
Like, oh my.
so but and like he
That seems like
he
something I
decide-
would only
he-
go into if I knew that that's what I was getting into story-wise. Like, did
Well,
you know
he-
this going into this
well,
story?
at the
'Cause
very
that's
bottom-
not something you want.
at the very bottom of the description it said this book contains harem elements. And
Okay.
I kind of thought like, oh well, and the cover was looked like a dungeon lord with like 2 chicks on his arms. So
So you're like, okay, maybe
I was
it's,
like, oh, okay.
maybe
all right,
it's
let's-
van fantasy. You know, like the stuff
I'm
you
just
see
gonna
outside
just
of
check it out.
vans.
But like the thing about it is like this guy is so patronizing. Like I don't know where this is going. I'm going to stick with. It's
It
one of
sounds
those
like
deals
an incel written book.
yes, that's kind of how it reads. Like he is taking over these 4 women and is going to show them how to be real adventurers.
Yeah.
and just
that
like
sounds like
he's going to guide
he's
them.
going to
and-
mansplain to them how
yeah,
to
he
dungeon.
like this book is like the dungeon. Who first off, he's like this evil dungeon, but he is like super nice to these girls. Like
Oh, well, it's because he's a nice
disgust-
guy TM.
Yeah, like it just reads,
Everything about this conversation is making me infuriated.
it just reads like nothing in it is actively happened that's like skeezy, but it just reads skeezy. Like I'm just waiting for the shoe to drop. Like it's just like everything seems like it's building up to he's just going to like I don't know. These 4 women are going to become his harem. I guess I don't know, but
Yup.
like it's weird. It's a weird book. I'm gonna stick with it, but
Huh.
Put that on the Derek's not reading that list.
yeah, it's real. Maybe
Like normally
look,
when
maybe,
you'd say
maybe-
something like this, I would be like, I'm curious. Maybe Bob's no. Derek's like, no.
I can read y'all some passages.
I got too much to read. I ain't got time for that.
Life's too short to read bad books.
So, one thing I've noticed is in lit RPGs, people highlight weird stuff. Like they don't highlight things that like people who are fans of lit RPGs highlight shit that normal book readers don't highlight.
Example?
Like it'll be a description of how like a god works, and they'll highlight that. Not like a flowery description of the god or like this really heart-touching scene or anything. They'll be like, Amaroth is the god of death and decay, and his da 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 da.
So it's like
stuff.
world builders are reading this and they're just like, oh, this is an interesting bit of world.
Yeah, almost.
this in my next campaign.
Maybe I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. So I don't know. Like so that sufficiently advanced magic book, that lit RPG
That you
book.
told me I should read.
I finished it. It is the most annoying book I've ever read that has me so fucking curious about what happens next. I'm going to have to read the next 2 books. Like, I low-key hate reading it, but cannot stop reading it.
Oh,
like,
that's me in the Paper Magician books.
It's so fucking interesting.
Yeah.
But
I hate it, but I
hold
love
this
it.
Remember
Well, no,
that.
here's-
Remember what we're talking
so
about right now.
Here's my problem with it. So here's what I figured out is my 100% my problem with this book.
Mm-hmm.
This kid acknowledges that he spent a lot of time researching this tower, and he's in a world where he is being trained to get this magical ability kind of deal, and has seemingly, even though he admits that he has like done tons of research on this one narrow aspect of.
Seems clueless.
Yeah, he has no fucking clue about anything else. Like, anything else. Like, stuff that he should have just been able to pick up. But, like, and that's how this guy uses, like, well, this kid knows nothing. So, like, there's a lot of scenes where he's in class learning about stuff that he should, that, like, you just know, like, fuck, he should fucking know this, you know? And seemingly has no clue. And so you spend a lot of time in classes learning stuff. Very exposition-y kind of deal.
Oh, no.
But it's so fucking... It's such a cool... Like, this is like an anime. It's like, reads like a fucking anime.
God, that's right. That's why you told me to read it.
Yeah,
Okay,
no, this is like a school anime.
Maybe that's what my next book should be.
I don't know how you're going to... Like, I think you're going to be like me. You're going to be like, this
gonna
is
be
so
5 of
annoying to
1.
read, but fuck, it's such a cool setting.
That's
And-
where I come down on, like, most of the anime I watch at this point. Like, there are the ones that are brilliant that everyone can agree are just really, really good. And then
Cowboy
there's
beep boop.
and then there's ones where you watch it and you're like, this is a really cool idea, and like half the time this show is really great, and the other half the time is like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, you could be doing this so much better. There was no reason for you to do what you just did. This is trash. And then it does that one good thing again. You're like, oh, but that's
But
real
back in.
good.
Yeah.
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 I got to read that too. Okay.
Yeah, it's...
What have you been reading, Tanya?
I haven't actually read much this week. We had some things happening at work where I couldn't listen to my audiobook like I normally do, and blah blah blah. So I'm still listening to The Grey House on.
But you're going to be
Kindle
listening to that
Unlimited.
to a while, I'm sure. That's a
Yeah,
long book.
and that's why I was really upset that I didn't really get into it, get through some of it. This
How many
week.
hours is that, do you know?
Like 34, I think.
Yeah.
I think I'm
a
like
longer
9
one.
hours into it.
I
Not bad.
thought it'd be like close to 40.
No, I think it's like 34.
Yeah.
And then I'm still reading Present Over Perfect by Shauna Nyquist. I just haven't I didn't make time this week to read.
Yeah.
And the only time I really listen to my audiobook is when I'm at work. I've got a task that I do every morning. It takes me about an hour. But we had visitors this week, so I couldn't do that.
Do you listen to it even when you're training people?
So technically, for the next few weeks, I'm going to be training people exclusively,
Yeah,
but
that's
no,
what I
I don't.
figured.
I
Yeah.
can't. Yeah, and see, there's a lot of tasks that I do at work in the stockroom where I'm alone,
Then
and
you
I can
can.
just listen. But
Yeah.
I cannot do anything
Out of
at
place.
work.
Yeah, that's
no,
fair.
if I'm not training someone, like I can't get papers off the printer,
Oh.
like because we have some auto printing reports in the morning.
Yeah.
I can't just grab those. I have to get someone to go. Okay, here's the papers. Let's look through them. So I have to have someone with me all the time. So I can't.
Yeah.
I can't listen to my book like I was.
Yeah.
And coming down here to Carcosa, like I don't really listen to a book coming down. So
What have you been reading,
I
Derek?
do. That's so far. That's
Oh, yeah,
pretty
that's
much
when you do...
when I do my listening. I do
Yeah.
Jade City on
Jade
the way
City.
down.
Yeah.
Which, and I'm going to say this every time we do this, man,
that book's so good.
that book's so good. And like now that I'm listening to it the second time, I can like place what it is I like about it so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really oh god, it's so good.
I'll probably give that a reread.
But also, let's see, finished Ready Player One, but I think I already mentioned that last week. I forget. And then started the Dungeoneers, but I didn't really get that far at all 'cause I haven't made time to read this week because a lot of stuff at work, coincidentally.
Yeah. Daggum work getting in the way.
Right, and
Jeez.
then I started like when I go to sleep at night, I started re-listening to A Wise Man's Fear. I just kind of set it for 30 minutes and then go to sleep while I'm listening to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I've been reading.
Yeah.
Oh, and then manga.
Yeah.
but that's it.
That slice of life.
Yeah, I need to finish it. I've only got like 3 more books.
Yeah.
So.
Well, neat. Well, anything else you want to add before we wrap this puppy up?
Negatory.
All right. Well, in the coming week, I hope that Tanya doesn't get you sick like she did me.
I did not get you sick.
Yeah, she probably did.
And B, may the blessing of the beard be upon you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Books, Beards, Booze. Our co-hosts are Bob, Derek, and Tanya. Our producer is Bob. For more information, visit our website, booksbeardsbooze.com. Follow our social media at Tales by Bob. If you enjoyed this podcast, please rate, subscribe, and share. Okay, bye.